One by one, the great and powerful passed beneath the beam. One by one, the scanner ignored them, its gaze moving forward, restless, almost searching. The assembly grew tense. Entire delegations whispered in their native tongues, feathers and mandibles twitching, tails curling in unease. Then came the human. He wasn't even meant to be there. Cadet Marcus Hale, age 22, stood awkwardly among the procession. Tall but wiry, with a shaved head and an expression that screamed, "I don't belong here," he was nothing compared to the towering alien dignitaries. He wasn't a diplomat, a warrior, or a chosen representative of Earth. Just a trainee attached to the Terran delegation as an errand runner. He hadn't been invited to stand beneath the scanner. Yet when the beam shifted, it locked onto him as though drawn by gravity. Marcus froze, his pulse hammered. The chamber fell silent. The light struck him. For the first time in recorded memory, the scanner hesitated. The beam thickened, deepening into crimson and gold. The machine's hum rose to a shriek. Sparks cascaded from its ancient frame, scattering across the floor like falling stars. Gasps rippled through the audience. "What is it doing?" hissed the counselor from the Lithari. "The scanner never stalls," a Wrath general growled, mandibles clacking in agitation. Marcus wanted to step back, to move out of the beam, but his body wouldn't obey. His chest felt heavy, as if unseen hands pressed him down. Then, in a voice deeper than before, the scanner spoke. "Bearer of the eternal flame." The words rang like a verdict, like prophecy. The silence that followed was unbearable. Thousands of eyes fixed on Marcus, some wide with awe, others narrowed with fury. The Lithari counselor hissed again, louder. "Impossible! Humanity has no place among the ascended." A Wrath general slammed a clawed fist against the Raeliae. "What flame? The title belongs to none." Whispers swelled into an uproar. Entire factions shouted across the chamber, languages clashing like weapons. The Terran delegation, caught off guard, surged forward to shield Marcus. Ambassador Rourke, the senior Terran official, gripped Marcus's shoulder tightly. "Stay calm, son," he murmured through clenched teeth. "Don't speak, not a word." Marcus swallowed hard. His throat was desert dry. He didn't dare move. The scanner's beam finally retracted, its mechanical limbs shuddering as though exhausted. For the first time in millennia, smoke curled from its vents. Then it rose back into its alcove, silent, inert. The uproar only grew. Council guards scrambled into position, long staves glowing with containment fields. Delegates pressed forward, claws, tendrils, and feathers bristling with outrage. The Lithari counselor shrieked, pointing a claw digit at Marcus. "He is unworthy! Humanity is unworthy! Remove him at once, before this farce desecrates the Accord!" Ambassador Rourke stepped in front of Marcus, voice cutting through the chaos like a blade. "The scanner has spoken. Whether you like the verdict or not, tradition demands you honor it." The chamber erupted again, this time even louder. And Marcus, still trapped in the middle of it all, whispered to himself, "What the hell just happened?" Immediate fallout. While the council chamber dissolved into chaos, the attention never left Marcus. The delegation from the Selthar, reptilian overlords of 3 systems, exchanged sharp glances. Their leader, Archlord Kovar, stood slowly, his scales glinting under the chamber's light. "This changes everything," he hissed, his voice carrying over the noise. "If humanity claims a title of flame, then perhaps they are not prey after all. Perhaps they are rivals." His words cut through the uproar like a blade. Silence fell again, heavier this time, laced with menace. Marcus felt his stomach drop. He hadn't asked for this. He didn't want this. But in a single moment, without action or choice, he had become the Mostaen. The council chamber had never been so silent. Species that had once scoffed at humanity now leaned forward, antennae trembling, frills tightened, mandibles locked in hesitation. All eyes were on Elias Rourke, the human cadet whose scanner reading had shaken the foundation of the known galaxy. Bearer of the Eternal Flame. The title still echoed in every translation system, reverberating like an ancient curse and a promise. Admiral Vorash stood rigid, claws flexing. "This is a trick," he snarled, though his voice lacked conviction. "No species, not even your fragile kind, could possibly..." The chamber lights flickered. Every scanner in the hall activated, unbidden. The Council's security systems had been locked for centuries, their codes uncrackable. And yet, they hummed to life in unison, beams converging on Elias. The human didn't move. He stood with a soldier's stillness, though inside, his heart pounded like war drums. The beams flared white-hot, and for a moment, Elias thought they might vaporize him. Instead, the energy split into spectral tongues of flame, wrapping him in light. Not fire that burned, but fire that remembered. The Hall of Ascension was never silent. Every hour of every cycle, the chamber echoed with the murmurs of thousands. Diplomats, warriors, scholars, and wanderers, waiting for their turn beneath the Ascendant scanner. Suspended high above the obsidian floor, the machine was older than any living species remembered. Its origin was unknown. Its judgment was absolute. For over 10 millennia, every civilization in the Orion Arm had brought forth their finest to the scanner. A single flash of its prismatic eye could brand a being with a title, an inheritance of cosmic resonance. Bearer of wisdom, speaker of shadows, hand of the void, rare honors, proof of a species' worthiness in the great accord. It had never erred. It had never faltered. Until now. The vast chamber's glow dimmed as the scanner descended for another candidate. An aquatic envoy from the Thrix drifted forward, gills flaring nervously. The beam swept across its body, scanning, humming, and "unmarked," intoned the machine's monotone voice, echoing like thunder. The Thrix envoy sagged, slithering away in shame. Next came a Krivax warrior, horns polished, armor gleaming. Again, the scan. Again, the verdict. Unmarked. The Hall of Ascension was never silent. Every hour of every cycle, the chamber echoed with the murmurs of thousands. Diplomats, warriors, scholars, and wanderers, waiting for their turn beneath the Ascendant scanner. Suspended high above the obsidian floor, the machine was older than any living species remembered. Its origin was unknown. Its judgment was absolute. For over 10 millennia, every civilization in the Orion Arm had brought forth their finest to the scanner. A single flash of its prismatic eye could brand a being with a title, an inheritance of cosmic resonance. Bearer of wisdom, speaker of shadows, hand of the void, rare honors, proof of a species' worthiness in the great accord. It had never erred. It had never faltered. Until now. The vast chamber's glow dimmed as the scanner descended for another candidate. An aquatic envoy from the Thrix drifted forward, gills flaring nervously. The beam swept across its body, scanning, humming, and "unmarked," intoned the machine's monotone voice, echoing like thunder. The Thrix envoy sagged, slithering away in shame. Next came a Krivax warrior, horns polished, armor gleaming. Again, the scan. Again, the verdict. Unmarked. The briefing. Within the Terran Embassy's secure chamber, Marcus found himself seated at a long table. Holograms flickered to life, displaying the frozen image of the scanner's verdict. Bearer of the Eternal Flame. The words glowed ominously. Dr. Lena Warren, Earth's lead xenoarchaeologist, leaned over the display. Her sharp eyes studied Marcus like she might study a newly unearthed artifact. "The Eternal Flame," she said, "is a phrase scattered across at least 17 alien mythologies. It represents endurance, rebirth, sometimes destruction, always tied to some kind of unstoppable continuity. But never before has the scanner spoken it." Marcus rubbed his temples. "And it just decided to dump it on me?" Rourke leaned forward. "You weren't supposed to be anywhere near the scanner. Why did it choose you?" "I don't know," Marcus snapped. I was just standing there. I didn't even want to be here. I'm a cadet, for crying out loud. I fetch coffee. That's my job. A silence fell. No one laughed. Dr. Voren's voice dropped lower. Then perhaps that is precisely why it chose you. No politics. No agenda. Just human. The thought chilled Marcus more than anything. The first threat. The embassy alarms screamed before anyone could say another word. The chamber doors sealed shut. Marines drew weapons. The hologram flickered and died. Rourke's comms crackled with a Marine officer's voice. Contact! Lithari strike team attempting breach of the West Wing. They want the boy. Marcus's blood ran cold. They're here? Already? Rourke stood, pulling Marcus to his feet. They won't wait. They never do. He turned to the Marines. Secure all exits. We're getting him to the shuttle bay. Sir, Marcus stammered. I can fight. I trained. Not today, Rourke barked. Today you survive. The walls shook as something detonated in the distance. Smoke crept through the vents. The embassy was under siege, and all of it, every shot, every scream, was because of him. Interdiction. The stars ahead warped suddenly, bending as a massive silhouette emerged from the void. Axeltar dreadnought. Scales of black steel, wings arcing like a predator bird. Interdictor field! The pilot shouted. They're blocking our jump! Marcus's heart sank. They knew we'd run. Hovar's face appeared on the comm screen, scales glinting under command deck lights. His smile was wide, cruel, patient. Humans, he drawled, voice a venomous whisper. Give me the boy, and I will spare your vessel. Refuse, and you all die here. The shuttle crew looked to Rourke. The ambassador's jaw tightened. He tapped the comm. You'll have to kill us all, Kovar. The Archlord's smile widened. As you wish. The comms cut. Battle in the void. The dreadnought opened fire. Streams of plasma lancing through the black. The shuttle weaved desperately, shields flaring under the onslaught. Smaller Celtar interceptors detached from the dreadnought, swarming like angry wasps. We can't outrun them, the pilot cried. Marcus's chest constricted. Panic clawed at him. They were going to die here, adrift in the void, all because of him. He squeezed his eyes shut and felt it again. The surge, the warmth in his chest, flowing into his arms, into his fingertips. He opened his eyes and saw patterns, impossible lines of motion, vectors of plasma fire, arcs of enemy craft. He knew where they would move, where the next blast would strike. Bank left now, Marcus shouted. The pilot glanced back, startled. What? Just do it! The shuttle banked hard left, just as a plasma barrage carved through the space they'd occupied a second earlier. The crew stared. How did you... Delane began. I don't know, Marcus gasped. I just saw it. Rourke's eyes narrowed, not with disbelief, but grim recognition. The spark spreads, Dr. Voren whispered, almost to herself. Precognition, or something close to it. The flame is not just symbolic, it's functional. The pilot was already adjusting course, sweat streaming down his face. Kid, whatever you're seeing, keep calling it out. Marcus swallowed hard, heart pounding, but nodded. He didn't understand what was happening, but if it kept them alive, he'd use it. 2 interceptors incoming! High right! He shouted. The shuttle twisted. Cannons flared. Enemy ships spun into fireballs. Each call felt like lightning in his veins. Each near miss left him more certain. This wasn't luck. This was something else. Something terrifying. Escape. But even with Marcus's guidance, the dreadnought loomed larger, its cannons charging for a killing strike. We can't take another volley, the pilot muttered, voice breaking. Rourke slammed a fist against the console. Options? Dr. Voren's eyes darted to the sensors. There's a debris field, a shattered moon, 20,000 clicks starward. If we can hide in it, maybe... Do it! Rourke ordered. The shuttle dove, engines screaming. Plasma fire chased them into the jagged remains of the moon. Rock and ice chunks tumbled in silence, sharp as blades, each one capable of shredding their hull. Marcus's breath caught as visions surged again. Paths through the field, narrow openings, deadly traps. His voice was hoarse, urgent. "Down 5 degrees! Cut right! Now left!" The shuttle weaved through impossible gaps, enemy ships smashing into rock behind them. Explosions lit the void. Finally, they burst through into open space again. The dreadnought loomed, but its cannons had lost them among the debris. For the moment, they were free. The embassy corridors thundered with chaos. Metal bulkheads groaned as blasts rattled the structure, shaking dust from the ceiling. Lights flickered, sirens wailed, and the floor shivered beneath Marcus's boots, as if the entire spire were trying to shake them loose. "Keep moving!" barked Sergeant Delane, one of the Terran Marines flanking him. Her rifle glowed hot from recent fire. She had a scar across her cheek and eyes that never once left the shadows. Marcus ran, heart hammering. He wanted to believe that this wasn't real, that he was just a cadet caught in some training exercise gone wrong. But the stench of ozone and blood in the air made it very clear. This was no simulation. Rourke kept pace beside him, older but unshaken, barking orders into his comm. "Seal sectors 5 and 6. Evac priority on the boy. Everyone else buys time." Marcus flinched. The boy. As though his name didn't matter anymore. Only the title stamped on him by the scanner. "Breach?" They rounded the corner just as a squad of Lithari soldiers poured through a blasted doorway. Tall, thin, and insectoid. Their chitinous armor shimmered with bioluminescent patterns. Weapons crackling with plasma charge. The lead soldier shrieked something in its native tongue. Marcus didn't need a translator to understand. "There he is!" "Contact!" Delane shouted. Bolts of blue plasma ripped through the corridor. Marines dove for cover, rifles barking in reply. The air became a storm of heat and light. Marcus pressed against the wall, useless, every instinct screaming at him to run. One Lithari soldier darted forward, moving impossibly fast, its plasma blade igniting as it lunged straight at him. Marcus froze. Then, without thinking, he snatched up a fallen Marine's sidearm. The grip felt alien in his hands, heavier than any training sim back on Earth. He raised it, barely aiming, and fired. The bolt caught Helithari in the chest. The alien convulsed, light dying from its bioluminescent veins as it crumpled to the floor. Marcus stood there, shaking, the smoking pistol in his hands. His stomach churned, his ears rang. Sergeant Delane shoved him behind cover. "Good shot, cadet. Don't freeze again or you'll be a corpse. Now move." There was no time to process the fact that he'd just killed. No time to feel guilt or relief or anything except raw adrenaline. Desperate retreat. The Marines fought tooth and nail, dragging Marcus through corridor after corridor. Every turn seemed to bring another squad of Lithari. Every door, another explosion. Marcus gasped. "Why me? Why do they want me this bad?" Rourke answered between bursts of gunfire. "Because the scanner named you. That makes you valuable. Valuable enough to kill over." "They don't even know what it means," Marcus shouted. Rourke gave a grim smile. "Doesn't matter. Symbols matter more than truth in this galaxy. And right now, you're the biggest symbol alive." That thought chilled Marcus more than the firefight. The inner chamber. At last, they stumbled into the embassy's central atrium. Marble columns rose toward a domed ceiling painted with Earth's continents. A fountain sputtered in the center, half shattered by stray fire. "This way!" Delane pointed to the lift at the far end. "It'll take us to the shuttle bay." They sprinted, boots pounding. But as they reached the lift, a new figure stepped into their path. Archlord Kovar. He wasn't supposed to be here. He was a counselor, not a soldier. Yet here he stood, tall and coiled, scales shimmering like molten bronze. Around him, half a dozen Lithari knelt, their weapons lowered in deference. Rourke swore under his breath. Khobar. The Archlord's forked tongue flickered as he smiled. Predator to prey. Ambassador. I regret the violence. Truly. But the boy, he belongs with us. He's under Terran protection, Rourke snapped. Protection? Khobar tilted his head. You can't even protect yourselves. Every specie, the embassy corridors thundered with chaos. The Hall of Ascension did not dismiss easily. When the scanner had gone silent, its eye dimming back into a lifeless prism, the chamber's guardians clashed their staves against the floor 3 times. The thunderous sound demanded stillness, but even stillness carried weight. Every alien present leaned forward in their seats, watching the Terran delegation like predators circling a wounded prey animal. Marcus could feel their eyes drilling into him, some burning with anger, others glittering with intrigue. He would have traded anything to vanish in that moment, but vanishing wasn't an option. Ambassador Rourke didn't wait. He raised his voice, booming across the chamber. The accord is clear. The scanner's word is final. The human cadet Marcus Hale has been named bearer of the eternal flame. This council will respect tradition. His words were calm, but Marcus noticed the tremor in his hand. Rourke wasn't fearless. He was buying time. A shrill laugh cut through the hall. The Litari counselor, a spindly creature with translucent skin and bulbous eyes, rose from her seat. Tradition? She hissed, mandibles clattering. Tradition demands consistency. The scanner does not hesitate, does not burn, does not stall. This anomaly reeks of manipulation. A trick of Terran engineers, no doubt. Dozens of heads bobbed in agreement. The word Terran trick rippled across the chamber in a dozen tongues. Marcus clenched his fists. He wanted to shout that he hadn't done anything, that he was as surprised as the rest of them. But Rourke's earlier warning held him silent. The Wrath General stood next. His hulking frame dwarfed everyone around him, chitin plates clashing as he moved. If this title is real, then the galaxy has a problem. Humanity is young, untested, barely crawling beyond its homeworld. Why would the Eternal Flame choose them? Unless it seeks destruction. Yuel rumbled from the alien crowd. Fear mingled with anger, thick and choking. Archlord Khobar, the reptilian Zelthar, remained seated until the noise nearly drowned itself. Then, with deliberate slowness, he rose. His scaled hand rested on the railing, claws tapping once, twice, thrice. When he spoke, his words were smooth, almost soothing. Perhaps we should not fear the boy, he said. Perhaps we should study him. Marcus's stomach turned. Khobar's eyes locked onto his, reptilian pupils narrowing. If the flame rests in his blood, then let us uncover its nature. For knowledge, of course. For the Accord's safety. The suggestion was bait, wrapped in silk. Marcus saw it immediately. Study meant control. He would be taken, dissected piece by piece, until nothing human remained. Ambassador Rourke stepped forward, voice like steel. He is under Terran protection. Any attempt to claim him will be considered an act of war. The chamber erupted again. Shouts, threats, counter-threats. Marcus whispered to Rourke, "Sir, maybe we should just leave." Rourke's jaw tightened. "That's exactly what we're going to do." Retreat from the hall. The Terran delegation formed a shield around Marcus as they withdrew. Marines in dress uniforms kept their hands near hidden sidearms. The alien delegates hissed and jeered, but none moved against them. Not yet. As the doors of the hall sealed behind them, Marcus finally exhaled. His legs trembled as though he'd been sprinting. "What was that?" he demanded, voice cracking. "I didn't do anything. I don't even know what a bearer of the eternal flame means." Rourke's expression softened, just slightly. "Neither do we. And that terrifies them more than you realize." They moved swiftly down crystalline corridors, guards flanking them on all sides. The Ascension Spire wasn't a safe place anymore. The lift jolted to a halt, doors hissing open into the shuttle bay. Chaos reigned here too. Dock workers scattered in panic, while embassy marines fought tooth and nail to hold back waves of lethargy. Plasma fire lit the cavernous hangar, sparks cascading from ruptured hull plating. "Go, go, go!" Sergeant Delane barked, shoving Marcos toward the nearest Terran shuttle. Marcos stumbled up the ramp, lungs burning, the pistol still clenched in his hand. He barely noticed the acrid smoke, the screeches of alien war cries, the dying groans of Terrans cut down in the crossfire. All he could think was keep moving. Rourke was right behind him, issuing orders like a hammer striking steel. "Covering fire! Don't let them flank! Get that shuttle in the air!" The pilot, already strapped in, shouted back, "Engines hot! 30 seconds to lift!" They didn't have 30 seconds. The chase. A screech split the hangar as a massive figure strode through the smoke. Archlord Kovar. Again. His scales glistened like molten bronze, his stride casual, confident, as if the battle around him was irrelevant. The lethargy parted before him like water before a prow. Marcus froze halfway up the shuttle ramp, staring as Kovar raised a clawed hand. Energy crackled between his fingers, plasma, but denser, brighter than the weapons the lethargy carried. He hurled it. The bolt ripped across the hangar, slamming into a marine barricade. The blast threw soldiers like ragdolls, fireball blossoming. Marcus's breath hitched. This wasn't just a politician. This was a warlord. "Move!" Delane yanked him into the shuttle, just as another blast scorched the ramp. The doors sealed. Engines roared. The shuttle lurched skyward, leaving the inferno of the embassy behind. In orbit, the view outside the porthole stole Marcus's breath. The Ascension Spire sprawled below, half its glittering towers ablaze. Warships hung in orbit, alien vessels circling like vultures. Some turned their cannons toward the fleeing shuttle. "Strap in!" the pilot yelled. The shuttle banked hard as plasma fire streaked past. Too close. Alarms blared. Marcus gripped the seat straps until his knuckles whitened. Delane leaned over him. "You okay, cadet?" He shook his head. "No." She gave him a grim smile. "Good. Means you're sane." A flicker of flame. Rourke slid into the seat across from Marcus, his face pale but steady. "Listen carefully. What you did in the atrium." "I don't know what I did," Marcus interrupted, voice rising. "I just moved. Shot. Like something was pushing me. That wasn't me." "Then it was the flame." Dr. Voren's voice cut in, transmitted from the rear comm station. She'd survived the chaos, miraculously. The myths always describe it as a force that chooses vessels. "Marcus, the scanner didn't name you by chance. Something inside you has been awakened." Marcus's stomach twisted. "I don't want it. I'm not a hero. I'm not even a soldier yet. I'm just..." The shuttle jolted violently as cannon fire grazed the hull. Marcus's protest died in his throat. Rourke's eyes narrowed. "You may not want it, son, but it wants you." Gasps and shrieks spread through the chamber. Images flooded the holoscreens, fragments of history no one alive had seen. 1,000 battles, empires rising, then burning. And in the center of it all, humans. No, not humans. The figures looked different, taller, armored in radiant metal, wielding weapons that bled starlight. But their eyes, their stubborn defiance, their refusal to kneel before anything, that was unmistakably human. Counselor Dresset's scales dulled in dread. Impossible. The eternal flame was myth. A warning from the founders. They said it would return, murmured someone else. Elias felt the heat of the vision sink into his chest, pulsing with his heartbeat. His voice came unbidden, deeper, resonant, carrying more than just his own tone. "We carried it once, we carry it still. And when darkness comes, we burn brighter." The entire chamber recoiled. Admiral Vorash slammed a fist against the table. "This is dangerous. That thing inside him is no gift. It is a weapon. Humanity must be contained before... Before what? Elias cut in, his voice like tempered steel. He stepped forward, the spectral flames following him. Before we refuse to kneel? Before we remind you that the council was built on fear of what we might become? The silence was suffocating. Elias turned, addressing not Vorash, not Dressith, but every trembling delegate. For generations, you've hidden this truth. You thought if you buried it deep enough, humanity would stay small. You were wrong. We don't hide from fire. We become it. A low murmur spread among the species. Fear, yes, but also awe. One counselor, voice trembling, whispered, "If you are truly the bearer, what will you do?" Elias looked at them all, the liars, the schemers, the fearful rulers who had written off Earth as insignificant. He thought of his parents, coal miners, who worked themselves to exhaustion. And then he thought of the old stories whispered around Terran firesides, about humans surviving ice ages, plagues, wars, extinction events. What would he do? He clenched his fists. The flame pulsed brighter, sending a ripple of light across the chamber. "We'll do what we've always done," Elias said, calm but unshakable. "We'll endure. We'll fight when we must. And we'll burn away the darkness, whether you stand with us or against us." The council erupted into chaos. Some shouted for war, others for surrender. Still others fell into stunned silence. But none could deny what they had seen. The eternal flame had chosen, and it had chosen humanity.